Welcome to this explainer. Now, if you've spent any time studying astrology, you already know the basics of how a chart works. But today we're unpacking something really special, Krishnamurti Paddhati, which most people just call KP Astrology. It's an absolutely revolutionary system developed by the brilliant researcher Professor K.S. Krishnamurti. He essentially took an ancient practice and injected it with an incredibly rigorous, scientific level of precision.
So, let's kick things off by tackling a really fundamental question, one that shapes how we approach chart reading in the first place. Do distant planets actively influence our daily lives? It's a totally fair question, and honestly, the way we answer it defines the entire philosophy behind KP Astrology.
You see, there's this huge misconception out there that planets actually create the events in your life, like they're actively building your success or forging your struggles. But the reality, and this forms the absolute bedrock of Krishnamurti's approach, it's quite different. Planets are reflectors, not creators. They merely indicate what is already destined to unfold according to universal order.
A really fantastic way to wrap your head around this is through what we call the cosmic clock analogy. Shifting our view of the planets from active creators to passive indicators is literally the key that unlocks the rest of KP Astrology. Think about how a standard clock on your wall works.
Just imagine a school timetable. A mom checks the clock at 10 a.m. and knows her kid is sitting in math class. A couple of hours go by, she checks again, and now the clock indicates science class. Did the clock itself actually cause the school's subjects to change? Well, of course not. The schedule already existed, the clock was merely indicating the timing.
In astrology, the birth chart is exactly that. It's a cosmic clock, but with exactly 9 hands representing the 9 planets. These 9 hands don't create your destiny. They are simply a snapshot of the heavens at your exact moment of birth, reflecting the timing and the nature of your life's journey.
But this brings us to a really fascinating historical roadblock. It's a puzzle that actually baffled astrologers for centuries, and it became the exact problem Professor Krishnamurti set out to solve. It's known as the twin paradox. Krishnamurti observed a really glaring flaw in traditional methods. He asked, how on earth can 2 twins, born just a few minutes apart, live completely different lives? Because traditional methods produced almost identical birth charts for them. The cosmic clock was telling the exact same time, but their real-life schedules, one may be experiencing immense success while the other faced intense struggles, were completely different. To really understand this flaw, you have to look at the math. A single ascendant sign remains on the eastern horizon for nearly 2 whole hours. Think about how many babies are born worldwide in a single 2-hour window. Traditional methods give all those people the exact same ascendant sign, which, let's be honest, is an incredibly broad brushstroke for predicting an individual's life. And hey, even when we drill down to a nakshatra, or lunar mansion, that window is still approximately 53 minutes long. Hundreds of individuals are born within any 53-minute window. Logically, there is just no way they can possibly share the exact same destiny. The traditional clock was simply way too imprecise to account for the unique variations in human lives. This massive mathematical overlap of destinies inspired Krishnamurti to ask a profound question that would forever alter the field. He asked, can astrology be made more precise? Essentially, he wanted to build a better clock. And the answer to that question became the entire foundation of KP Astrology. After extensive, truly grueling research, Krishnamurti didn't just tweak the old system. He fundamentally upgraded the whole thing by introducing 2 revolutionary pillars. His first massive innovation was zooming in with a level of unprecedented precision through what's called the sublords theory. Instead of stopping at that broad 53-minute nakshatra window, he took every single nakshatra and divided it further into 9 unequal subdivisions, based on the Vimshottari dasha sequence. These sublords, they were the absolute game changer. You can think of it kind of like a camera steadily zooming in to find the ultimate truth of an event. First, the sign provides the broad background, that's your wide shot. Then, the nakshatra shows the specific direction, so we're zooming in on the subject. And finally, the sublord reveals the actual outcome, the perfect, extreme close-up. This single innovation is what dramatically separated the charts of twins born even a few minutes apart. Now, his second major refinement dealt with the houses. Traditional Vedic astrology generally slices the zodiac into 12 perfectly equal houses. But KP Astrology adopts the Placidus house system, which uses unequal divisions. Why? Because of pure scientific logic. The Earth itself is not a perfect sphere. To accurately reflect the heavens from our very specific vantage point on the globe, he demanded astronomical precision.
Bring these elements together, and what you get is a truly scientific approach to destiny. By combining those astronomically precise unequal house calculations with the absolute pinpoint accuracy of the sublords theory, KP Astrology removes all that vague guesswork. It replaces it with a structured, mathematical methodology that practitioners can actually rely on.
Ultimately, KP Astrology just brings an unmatched level of precision to the table. It solves that twin paradox that baffled traditional astrologers. It drastically increases predictive accuracy by zooming in to the sublord level. It aligns the chart with actual astronomy, and it brings a deep, undeniable logic to reading a chart.
So, we've seen how the planets merely indicate our path, and how Professor Krishnamurti upgraded the tools we use to track them. Now that we know the cosmic timetable exists, we finally have the scientific tools to read that schedule accurately. The only question left is, are you ready to view your own cosmic clock with absolute precision? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep looking for the logic in the universe.